All right, today we're going to talk about multiplication property of equality. And what I have here is you have a problem that says 5 divided by 2 times x equals 15. And you have to find out what times 5 halves equals 15. That's what the x is the unknown. So what we do is we flip that 5 halves around, the inverse multiplicative inverse of 5 halves, and you multiply it on both sides. So if I flip it, it's going to give me 2/5. And I put that in blue so you could see where it is on each side. And I multiply it on both sides. And that means it kind of cancels out on this side, and the only thing that's left is the x, so that comes down. And then I can put this over 1. I can cross reduce. That means 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 15 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. I don't have to write 6 over 1. 6 divided by 1 is 6. And so my answer would be 6. How do I know it's right? I substitute that 6 in for the x, and that is what I did over here. Check it. 5 halves times 6 equals 15. Well, then you would do 6 over 1, and you have 30 over 2. And 30 divided by 2 is 15, and 15 equals 15. Then yes, that means that both sides have to equal for it to work. And so that would be a yes, and then that means that is 110% correct, right? All right, so what I did is I gave us some practice problems. So at this point, you stop you pause it, you write these examples down, and then we decide to do it. I'm going to do the problem, and then you unpause it, and then you'll see if you got the answers and the steps correctly. So this is a multiplication, and the opposite of multiplication is to divide. What times 5 gives you 30? You probably already know that answer without even thinking about it. And you would say 6, and you would be correct, because that means you know your multiplication. If you had to hesitate and stop and get a calculator out, you need to practice those multiplications. Next, -3 times x. Again, you're finding out what times -3 gives you a positive 33. Pay attention to those signs. And then you would cancel the -3's cancel out. And positive divided by a negative is a negative. And 33 divided by 3 is 11. And that answer would be a -11. And 2 more, and then you're done with this lesson. That's how quick that goes. See? This is dividing. The opposite of dividing would be to multiply. And so I would take 7 and multiply it on both sides. Why? Because whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. So I would cancel those out, and y equals 140. And then that would be that answer. Over here, I just saw the 2 negatives, and people get messed up with all the negatives and stuff. And we kind of did this in the last video that we just did, but let's see if you remember. You're going to get the z by itself, and it has to be a positive z. So pay attention to your signs in this problem. What's the opposite of subtracting? Adding. So I add 4 to both sides. Cancel those 4's on the left side. Bring down the -z. That's 10. Is that the right answer? Am I done? No. You're not done. Why? Because now you have to get rid of that negative. And you divide by -1 and divide by -1. And it's a positive z. Those negatives cross out. And 10 divided by -1. Positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative. And it would be a -10. And that would be that answer. So this concludes this lesson. And how quick was that? Go back, rewind, look at it. Again, any questions, hit me up on the comments. You can email me. These are for my students in my class, but whoever is watching it, you can always get back to me. So thank you.